All right. Next up, regular guitar. So acoustic or electric, doesn't matter if it's distorted, doesn't matter if it's clean. Stringed instruments in general will sound good with the following equalizers. Again, the Neve 1084. I can't say enough nice things about this EQ. However, I think I could say nicer things about the Green 5 Ultra, which I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but it is a George Massenburg Labs 8200 emulation. It typically this is used for mastering, but honestly I think that's because the EQ is so darn expensive. People just don't have enough money to afford to have like 24 of these across a mix or more. So it's usually relegated to mastering or to buses. Either way, you now have it in EQ form if you buy this plugin, and it just sounds excellent on so many different things. I'm going to stop saying that. I'll just mention it with each track and then move on. We also have, this is a Helios Type 69 equalizer. I don't think I've talked about the Helios Type 69 very often. It's been emulated by other companies, and this is the Analog Obsession version of it. Acoustical Audio have, I believe it's called Viridian, and that has a Type 69. I didn't download Viridian for this video, but anyway, this is the freebie, and a lot of people swear by this plugin for a guitar. So check it out. It's free or donationware, but either way, moving on. Like I was saying earlier about Honey, this is a Harrison 32C equalizer emulation. Again, you can get a free version of it from Analog Obsession, but Honey sounds good. I'm a big acoustical audio fan. I'm a part of their street team, so obviously I'm biased in that way. But even before I became a member of the street team, I just loved acoustical audio plugins. There's something about them that just sound better, for lack of a better word. Not that other emulation companies out there haven't gotten better over the years, but Acustica have been very good since the beginning. And if you're going for that Harrison 32C sound, you can get it. Also, there's an official Harrison 32C plugin, which I don't have. But anyway, let's just wrap this up by talking about SSL. Now, this one is the 4000E. To me, it doesn't matter. If you got an SSL, whether it's a 9000, a 4000, EG, whatever the heck you get, it's going to sound good on guitars. It just will. And if you need a freebie, then there you go from Analog Obsession, the SSQ. And next up, we have drums. And wow, I picked a lot. By the way, guys, just because I'm saying like use all these, it doesn't mean you have to use every single one of them. If you just pick one of them, and again, Noise Ash Need Collection or the Green 5 Ultra, yeah, any of those will be perfectly fine. Okay, you don't need every single one of them. You really don't. So anyway, the Neve 1081 for drums, very similar to an API style equalizer, in my opinion. But yeah, for drums, I love the 1081. In fact, it's probably going to be the first outboard EQ that I get. Not the original. I wish I could afford an original one, but a clone of it I will get one day. And then if you need, speaking of a clone, the free Channel V from, I want to say Access Analog, but no, not Access Analog, from Analog Obsession. There you go. It also has a compressor and a mic preamp and apparently a de-esser, and it's got a tape. It's got all kinds of stuff. But the main thing is it has this 1081 emulation right there, and it's available for free. If you like it, donate. Next, speaking of API, next up, the API collection. These are very underrated in my opinion. People don't talk about it very often, but I compared this to the real hardware that's up on Access Analog, the real API 5500. And even though the T-Rex EQP equalizers have like a cartoony look to them, and I know that sounds weird to say that, but they look like cartoons, you know, compared to some of the emulations out there. But let me tell you something. At least I can say for 100% fact that the EQPB sounds eerily similar to the hardware version. I will stand by that statement. And the beautiful thing about this plugin is that it has in-between settings. Now, I know other ones do as well, but usually on an API EQ, you can only do 2, 4, 6, then 9, then 12. There's no in-betweens. But with this, there is in-betweens. And yeah, I was actually able to closely match the hardware thanks to that. And then again, this is the API 560 emulation, the 10-band EQ. All excellent for drums. A lot of people swear by this one for snare drum and also kick drum. And if you don't have the money for that, then check out Analog Obsession's America plugin. It doesn't have the 10-band EQ, but it's close. If you do have a little extra money to spend, Red Rock Sound, I cannot recommend them enough. They, just like with the T-Rex, sound very similar to the real hardware. In fact, an API is going to have a broken heart for me saying this. Because these plugins are so darn good, I don't see a reason to buy an API 5500. Just my opinion, though. All right, and next up, we also have Honey, which is the Harrison 32C emulation. And again, just like before, we have Hercules. And then next up, here's some plugins I haven't talked about. Now, this one is an emulation of the Retro Instruments. Oh boy, what is this called again? Oh man, I can't remember the name of the model, but it's an emulation of a Pultec equalizer. In my opinion, I would buy this over a Pultec because the Pultec, however you pronounce it, does not have certain options such as a high pass filter. And let me tell you, I like that high pass filter. And this plugin is like my go-to on kick drum. It is very good on tom drum, although I prefer an API on tom drum. But this is good also on electric bass as well. But it obviously does the boost attenuation trick, and also sounds good on drum overheads. So if you don't have a lot of money, once again, Analog Obsession, they have their donationware, and also I'm not sure if you can still get this one for free, but Wormy EQP1A from Kive Audio, which is an emulation of the Warm Audio Pultec clone. The cool thing about this one is there are more low-end frequencies. I think there might be another mid-band frequency too. I'm not 100% sure. But the mid-band goes up to 800 hertz. Also has a 400 hertz setting, which is not on the original Pultec. If you look at that, Red Rock Sound also has a Pultec. And actually, I'll tell you, this is an amazing plugin because it has this macro thing you can do. And what that does is, like, normally you have two hands to manipulate controls on hardware. You can actually program that with a macro. If I choose this and hit 1, I don't know why it's not selecting it, but watch this when I move it. Oh, hold on. When I move this, Why is it not working? Oh, there we go. Look at that. I can dial this in like I have two hands. Isn't that cool? There's other features that this has over other Pultec emulations, such as immersive audio. Like this is stereo, right? And you can do dual mono, mid-side, but it goes up to 7.1.4 channels, right? And here's another thing. You can have up to 4 Pultecs in series all in one plugin. That's amazing, right? So anyway, there you go, everybody. Again, Red Rock Sound, they have very affordable prices on their plugins. I was a Patreon of theirs for a long time, or a patron of theirs for about a year, and I got a lot of their plugins, but I don't think they had that anymore. Anyway, back to this. Speaking of Red Rock Sound, another go-to EQ. Now this is particularly good for snare drum, and that is the Trident A range, which has been emulated just by a handful of companies. I believe Softtube made theirs many years ago, and then there was one that used Acoustica audio technology. Acoustica don't have their own Trident stuff, or at least not the A series. But there was a company that once upon a time had it, and also Arturia released their own as well. But this is the one from Red Rock Sound. I trust Red Rock Sound. They did such a great job emulating different hardware that I could compare their stuff to. But yeah, anyway, Analog Obsession, I believe this is the Trident 80B. So it's kind of close, but not really. But yeah, if you're going for something with snare drum, you may as well try that one out. And also for drums in general, once again, the Motown equalizer. This one's from Noise Ash, but you can get this from other companies as well. And finally, the last two plugins we have, Prestige Racks from Noise Ash. This to me is like, honestly, I don't know why I have it so far down on the list. It should probably be up like here. So this medley equalizer, let's just ignore the other stuff, okay? We can ignore the other plugins for now. Just the EQ. From the top to the bottom, we have number one, an Airband, which is a Mag EQ emulation, I believe. Then we have the high filter, which is a Neve 1084 high frequency shelf. And you're not just limited to, 10 or 12 or 16 kilohertz. Oh no, you can go in between if you want. Very cool, right? Oh, hold on. Why is it not letting me do that? Oh crap. Now I gotta edit that out. Damn it. Or do I? Nah, we're good. You guys can see those plugins, those programs. Actually, I'll briefly tell you what I can't mouse over these, but Notepad is my number one program. I keep notes on it, obviously, and it gets used a lot. My word processor for when I need to print things or I'm writing a book. So Microsoft Word 2003. I spent good money on that program, and I'm not letting it go. Affinity Photo is a good Photoshop alternative, VLC media player, best darn video player in the world. Reaper, you guys know what that is. I'm using it as I do this. Dissenter is like, it's different from Google Chrome. I have as like an alternative. ID is audience control panel software. And then the next two ones are video encoding / transcoding. Smart Renderer I use a lot because it can losslessly edit videos and it saves hard drive space. It's awesome. VDub is my actually not analog. It is my video capturing software. And then Wondershare lets me download videos from different websites. Spotify, you guys know what that is. And then Epson Scan is brand new, which is I got a new printer, so that's why it's on there. All right. Next up. Oh, so in the middle here, we have two different kinds of mid-band EQs. So without me picking where it says US, this is, I'm going to say it's similar to an SSL style EQ, but not exactly the same. It doesn't have like a huge range. It's not officially anything, but I would say it's more of like clean, but still good. But then when you enable US mode, and then when you enable the snapping, you don't have to enable the snapping, but when you do both of those, first of all, the Q disappears, and we now have proportional Q. This is an API 550B's mid-band EQs. Both of these, if you enable US mode and snap mode. Again, you don't have to do snap mode. Snap mode is actually an idea I gave Noise Ash, and they threw it in there, which is cool. It just snaps to different frequencies like the real hardware would do. But again, API 550B, awesome for drums. And then finally, down here, we have the Pultec's low-end band. And they have the boost and the attenuation. So if you're doing kick drum, honestly, like I was saying, this is like one of the most perfect drum equalizer plugins that are out there, because it has everything I want right there. You know, like the 1084 for the high shelf, awesome on overheads. Okay, finally down here, the filters. I don't know what these are for. I know what they are for, but I don't know what hardware emulation they are, if they are a hardware emulation. But you know, when you need it, high pass and low pass filter, great. And since I was talking about drums, I may as well talk about this, which is an emulation of an SSL 4000 channel compressor. Not the mix bus compressor, the channel strip compressor. It says it right down there, okay? And what this is known for is getting snappy punch into drum tracks. It's good for other things too, but particularly drums. Drums. Okay? And its heritage comes from the DBX 160 line of compressors. I'm not going to say it's exactly the same as that, but yeah. That's why I love the Prestige racks and highly recommend them for drums. And then finally, Red Rock Sound. I was talking earlier about the MAG or Mage EQ. Now theirs is called the EQ4. Red Rock Sound calls this one the EQ3. But it is a MAG 4 emulation. You better believe it. And a lot of people swear by it for drum bus, for drums in general. And yeah, people particularly like the Airband. Like, even if you just use this plugin for the Airband, you may as well try it. Again, Red Rock Sound, very affordable plugins. I'm not sure if Analog Obsession has an emulation, but if they do, maybe I'll make note of it below. And let's see, vocals are next. Let me enable these. So, look, I don't use the Neve 1073 anymore, but I would be remiss without mentioning it because it is so famous on vocals. Again, the Neve, or I should say the Need collection from Noise Ash, highly recommended for all kinds of purposes. Okay, but like I said, if you can only afford one, the Neve 1084, just sounds good on so many different things. And vocals in particular, it's very good for that purpose. But we also have, like I said earlier, the Green 5. And I would say in combination, these two, the 1084 or the 1073 with the Green 5, that is just a killer setup. Again, not trying to sell you guys on anything, so if you can't afford it, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, spend as little money as possible. I'm not trying to sell you guys on anything. So Analog Obsession has their Brit channel, which is a 1073 emulation. And also the Pultec is good on vocals. That's why I had the Smoke EQ on here, along with the Red Rock sound. So what I'm trying to say is free Red Rock sound, very affordable, and then Smoke EQ or the Purple from Acoustical Audio. This is where you get into the more expensive territory, but Acoustical Audio has a lot of sales that you can do, and the more plugins you buy from them, the greater your loyalty coupon that you get. But the Smoke EQ or their Purple EQ, great for vocals. I would particularly recommend you get the one. Pultec doesn't just have a low and high shelf, or really a low shelf and a high, I can't think of the name, a bell. There, I couldn't think of it earlier. The bell shape EQ, which is the higher end. But they also have the mid-range one, which I don't have pulled up right here. But yeah, that's how people would typically use it on vocals or other sources. But also we have the Neve 533, again, the Portico 533 from Rupert Neve Designs. Great for vocals. But again, I'm going to go through this list at the very end so you guys know what to look for. But once again, on vocals, I can't recommend the Air Band enough on this, either at 20 kilohertz or 40 kilohertz. You just crank that son of a beep up and you get a great sound for vocals and other instruments as well. And finally, this is my bonus, because this is not really an instrument, but the mix bus. The mix bus. What do I get on the mix bus? Well, for years and years on the mix bus, I loved the T-Rax Master EQ 432. And it's still a great plugin. Don't get me wrong. It really, really is. And I mean, first of all, you can't delete it because the T-Rax or IK Multimedia never did release a proper installation manager. But anyway, I won't be deleting this plugin, but I will not be using it as much because of Green 5. Again, Green 5 is just woo! Woo is all I gotta say. GML 8200 in your face, baby. This thing is rocking. Mix bus duties, instrument bus duties, it don't matter. 8200 all day, every day. But for a different flavor, you can go with the Manly Massive Passive. Absolutely. Which, by the way, I've been meaning to compare Magenta and other ones to a real Massive Passive, but I haven't got around to it. Sorry. We also have, I don't talk about this one too often for the mix bus, but it's there. So the Dangerous Music Bax EQ is the hardware, and this is an emulation of that. This is not the only Bax EQ emulation out there, but what I like about it, number one, a mid-band. This mid-band comes in handy. The Dangerous Music Bax EQ only has the shelves, and if you notice, it only goes to 5 decibels. Plus or minus 5 decibels, because again, it's made for mastering. The Bax EQ, the real one, does have high pass filters and low pass, I believe. It doesn't have a tube preamp you can enable or disable. So I like the Bax Pro, but again, I will recommend this. Now this is Acoustical Audio's Choral Bax, which is a free plugin, and then Analog Obsession. I thought they had a. There it is. There's their Bax EQ. So Analog Obsession has one, Acoustical Audio has one. But the one that I recommend if you have the money for it is the Bax Pro from Noise Ash. Noise Ash, I'm telling you guys, Acoustical Audio and Noise Ash and Brainworks are pretty much the only EQs I use nowadays. I used to love the heck out of Slate Digital, but you know, I mean, I may use Slate Digital stuff just to use it because I spent money on it years ago, but like they've been taken over. Noise Ash is just, ever since I heard their Pultec emulation and it sounded so good compared to the hardware, I've been a big fan of theirs. So, you know, you can rely on them for great releases. They just do not put out bad EQs. I can't vouch for all their other plugins. I really can't. I've been meaning to get to them. These are the ones that are in the lineup, if you're curious. But everything else, all their EQs are just excellent. Okay? Oh, actually, I like their stereo finalizer. This plugin is... it has made some of my mixes pretty darn cool. So, anyway, besides all that, that's the mix bus stuff. If you guys appreciated this video, let me know. I'm going to go through here and delete all the Analog Obsession plugins and see if this will load up without any issues. If it does, I will let you guys know in the comment section. Otherwise, I'm going to end this video. This was like a raw video. I'm sorry for all the ums and the likes, but that's how I speak. And if I was teaching you one-on-one, that's how you would hear from me. But anyway, check it out, guys. Oh, you know what? I meant to go through these and just get it down to the brass tacks. So, speaking of brass, let's see. Yeah, I would say just... I mean, this is the Need collection, so, you know, there we go. Those three. And then, for synth, man, oh, God. I do want to recommend Sand, but, it's such a toss-up. You know what? I'll keep Sand, and... you know, Harrison 32C, you really don't need it. So just these two are absolute recommendations for synth. And then for piano, yeah, we'll just go with that. See, these are all like clean though. Well, yeah, I'll just keep it as is anyway. Piano usually needs a clean EQ. Not always, but typically. Okay, bass guitar. All right, we got the 550 and the... All right, so what I'll do, I'm just going to get rid of the Motown and these other ones. Should I... What should I recommend? You know what? Since I already have the Need collection, it'll just be these two. I'm trying to like narrow it down to just what I've already recommended. So these for guitars. Okay, so I'll keep Sand in here. I want to keep the Type 69, but So there you go. Top three for guitar. And then drums. Now this one's going to be a little harder because there's so many of these. So I'll do Prestige Racks number 1. And then I want to do the 560, but drums are a little tougher. I definitely need a Pultec in here. That is for sure. Pultec. Should I go with, which one should I go with? You know, if I had the Pultec, I would go with that one. But I don't have that from Noise Ash. The Pultec has the mid frequencies, and so does Purple. So either one. For snare drum, see, I already have 3. I can't narrow this down. Do I absolutely need this for snare drum? Probably not. Probably not. You could probably go with something else. All right, I'm gonna get rid of the mag, and I'm just gonna stick with. Oh man, I'm gonna put the Motown EQ above the Pultecs, and yeah. Okay. I think I'm happy with that list. So overall, Prestige Racks, and then Neve 1081, Motown EQ, Pultec EQ. Doesn't matter which one you get. Smoke I love. And then this is, again, the Trident A range. And then finally for vocals, okay, get rid of the 73, keep the 84. I would actually put Green 5 first. Pultec is really not my first option for vocals. So what I'm going to do is get rid of all of them. Man, this is tough. I'm going to say, this is the order. Yeah, this is my final order. So for vocals, Green 5, absolutely, without question. It's just an excellent sounding plugin. I'm telling you guys, try this plugin out. You'll understand. I can't wait to release my first mix with nothing but Green 5 on it. And then we got Neve 1084 and a Rupert Neve Designs 5033. And then I have to have this because of the air. The air band is so important that you just don't want to, you want to have that as like your option in case the high shelf on this doesn't work well, And then finally for the mix bus, again, get rid of that. It's going to have to be Green 5 Ultra for the mix bus. Or maybe not. Because, see, the problem is if I use that as my workhorse, do I really want it on the mix bus too? I don't know. We'll find out. Magenta. Actually, yeah, let's just go with that. Let's go with these 3. Massive Passive. Green 5. And by the way, the 432 was a Soundtech 432. Very classic in mastering engineer studios. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think I'm happy with this. Yep. So anyway, thank you all for watching. This has been Adam for Real Home Recording.